The following episode of the Comics and Crypto podcast is for informational purposes only, and anything expressed by the hosts or their guests is solely their opinion. This podcast does not constitute financial advice, and anyone wishing to invest should seek their own independent financial or professional help. Have fun and enjoy the show.
Hi, I'm Sean O'Hare, and I know comics.
Hi, I'm Spencer Vogel, and I know crypto.
Hi, I'm Kevin Lee Loader, and I don't know shit. This is the Comics and Crypto podcast.
Comics and crypto, crypto and comics, collector's world in a digital age. Comics and crypto, crypto and comics, it's where the next billionaires will be rich. It's comics and crypto.
Today on the podcast, we have a very special guest. He's the director of marketing for Topps Digital, one of the oldest, if not the oldest company in the digital collectible space. Please welcome to the podcast, Gino Ferrazzano.
Gino! Hey, thanks for coming on.
So,
hey
Gino.
guys, how's it going?
I'm admiring the Packers memorabilia in the background.
Yes, this is my Packers shrine. It's probably off camera over here, and I'm sure we'll get into what things we collect, but that's definitely on the list. So,
That's actually the first question.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I made a deal with the wife. If she gave me the office, then
You can put whatever you want in it.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that's awesome. So do you consider yourself a collector? And if so, what do you collect?
I mean, I did actually grow up collecting trading cards. You know, this isn't a shameless plug. I actually did do it. You know, I was really big into baseball, football, Marvel, a little bit of basketball. It was really whatever I get my hands on. You know, to be honest with you, I used to go over to my cousin's house and just ransack the place and grab whatever I wanted. So I'm sure you appreciated that. But as the youngest one, you're the golden child. You get to do what you want with zero repercussions. So I'll take that all day. But no, once I became kind of a super fan, you know, I self-taught myself all American sports. My parents are first generation from Italy. So whoever's on TV in the early 90s, I clung to. So, you know, I'm a Packers fan, Braves because of TBS, the Knicks, you know, is my local team. And I actually like the Red Wings because of NHL 94 on Sega Genesis. So talk about a way to learn a sport. But yeah, over the years, I would collect little trinkets, that anything that was Packer branded, I wanted my hands on. So every Christmas, birthday, I'd get more and more. I get the calendar every year, and eventually it would all accumulate. And then now I have a giant shrine that I pray to before the games, and that's all I can tell you.
Did you ever pick up Beckett's as a kid and go through Beckett's and see pricing for cards?
No, we although I guess we did, but I never realized it was them that had the magazine, if that makes any sense. Like I'd have the individual pages and you look down and see how much the card is worth and the like, but no, I never did like a full deep dive to see what I have.
Yeah, that was my obsession as a kid, going through Beckett's and seeing the pricing and stuff. And I didn't even realize at the time, you know, I was speculating on certain players and how they're going to perform that year, and the prices would go up. You know, so I was that's why it's kind of fun to see that transition come back as a collector and investor in the space. But it's been really fun to see Topps get involved in Web3, especially with the digital collectibles. What was your background before Web3, and what does your journey look like coming into the space?
Sure. Yeah. So I've been with Topps now 7 years, you know, so I'm a bit of a grizzly veteran on the team. You know, we started digital collectibles before I guess that was a thing. You know, the nuance of digital collecting kind of made people tilt their head and be like, oh, well, is that a thing? And now we see, you know, what NFTs have brought to the industry. But, you know, Topps brought about digital collecting in 2012. I joined the team in 2015. And we had just launched a Star Wars card trader app, you know, which is obviously a huge app for us. But no, my background is digital marketing. You know, I worked in ad tech before, so I kind of understood the ecosystem. Even before that, I worked in experiential marketing. So it was a lot of fun. We got to do these cool immersive activations for Marvel, 2K Games, Konami, Dark Horse Comics. So it was a lot of fun to be in that space. And I think once Topps saw that and saw that on my resume, they want to bring me in house and kind of revamp our physical presence at a lot of shows. You know, I started about a month and a half before New York Comic Con in 2015 and said, hey, we have a booth. This is what it looks like. Go do it. And I was like, oh, okay, well, here we go. You know, so feet to the fire around that, which I didn't mind. So yeah, and then, you know, been around 2015, seen the portfolio grow. You know, at one point we had 10 different digital collectible apps, which was an amazing undertaking. And then about 2.5 years ago, we started talking, you know, Web3 and blockchain. We'd sit down for these giant brainstorming sessions. All right, what is this, and what does it mean for what we do? And it was really fascinating. Every time you sat down, you learned something new. Be like, okay, but you know, what do you mean it's decentralized? You know, like what do you mean there's nothing, you know, to I guess what we're used to on that side of the business. So we decided, hey, let's put our feet, dip our toe in the water, so to speak. We started with Garbage Pail Kids, and they were absolutely ravenous for it. And whether or not that's that audience to begin with, Garbage Pail Kids are fans regardless. So it was a great test kitchen, but it was also a lot of fun, especially to be able to do motion and animations and the like. And so that really showed us there was something there. Rolled out a couple more, and we've been cranking ever since.
It's been incredibly exciting over the past year, seeing our audience who were never really collectors, but they've become collectors because of these digital collectibles. They're starting to fall in love with their investments. Now they're buying physical counterparts or physical collectibles. And it's been really, really fun to see that transition, that connection, that obsession, and that passion grow, because it started with digital collectibles. And it's really fun, especially seeing people how they're differentiating value, right? Because in the physical market, we've seen them, grading is a huge deal. It's a huge deal. And now we're starting to see certain things that are starting to develop, especially with digital assets. Like on VEVE, for example, one of the big things is mint numbers, especially the lower mint numbers are really huge. And we're starting to see that on a lot of other platforms as well. And it's exciting.
Agreed. Yeah, I think once people get a better sense of the value of digital collecting, and knowing that scarcity is the name of the game, utility, which I'm sure we'll get into in a little bit as well. But yeah, it's the idea that, okay, is a one of one good? I know that seems obvious to many, but when it comes to actually understanding the nuances of collecting both in the physical and digital space, it makes people kind of keep an eye on it, and they start to become prospectors and business people right before their eyes. So it is cool to see how maybe some people just jumped in because the art was cool, but now they're full blown business person that's looking to take it to the next level of their collection.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, kind of going back to what you guys were saying before about, I guess, paying so much to the values of collectibles when you were a kid. Like for me, I just thought I was big into Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and I just thought the art looked cool. I wanted the shiny cards. I thought they looked awesome. I didn't really care about the value of them, but now that I'm an adult, and I'm doing this, almost as a career now, focusing on collectibles. Now you start to think about those things, and you still do obviously appreciate the art, but you think about the value a lot more too. And that gets us into a little bit about what you guys have done on the Wax blockchain. So you said before that you guys first released GPK, Garbage Pail Kids. I was very fortunate to be involved in that initial drop.
Nice.
So I bought pretty much all of the top drops that have been on the Wax blockchain. I did GPK, pretty much all the series, the Godzilla drop, the MLB drop. So I did really well on a lot of those, but you guys have since switched from Wax over to the Avalanche blockchain. So I was curious kind of what influenced that switch, and what your plan is for the assets that are on Wax currently.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, when we dove into the industry, Wax was a great partner. They set us up with the infrastructure we needed for the sales. What we realized down the road was, kind of being at the mercy of the platform. You couldn't really dictate how often you wanted to do releases. And so we wanted a little bit more independence and a little bit more freedom on how often we could release, what we want to release, and then having a dedicated space to promote our releases, not just kind of being one of many publishers. So it was definitely a hard decision, just knowing how far down the road we were already with all those releases. But we wanted to find another blockchain that made it seamless and easy for people that may not have been in the space. They don't have to convert anything. They create an account, their wallet is made, get them on their way. So that was kind of step one, and this is kind of step two, and we're really hoping in the future to bridge the two. And I know that's something that's top of mind with a lot of our early adopter collectors, as yourself, and like you mentioned, is how do we kind of bring them both together? So something that's on our roadmap is a bridge from Wax to Avalanche. It's a question of when. We're trying to get some of the lower hanging fruit out the door that our community is asking for, but that's definitely top of mind, at least for me too, because I collected on both as well. So I'm right there with you.
We've spoken often about the 1952 Mickey Mantle rookie card 101 NFT that dropped on OpenSea a number of times on the podcast. And do you view this NFT as a digital counterpart to the physical, or is it its own separate thing?
Great question. I mean, first and foremost, that was a lot of fun to work on. I mean, the fact is we went kind of, digging in the archives. We found the original artwork from 1952. So it wasn't just, a recreation and hoping you got it close. It was actually one of the original cards scanned, digitized, and put into the database, which is really awesome to see. And then an added bonus was how often we got to talk with Mickey Mantle's sons. You know, we go through the estate. You know, they were heavily involved in the program. They got, you know, the approvals on everything and the messaging and the like, and to just sit back and hear stories, you know, about their, you know, upbringing, being in the locker rooms, players and famous people that they met. That was a blast for me. You know, I cherish that, to be honest with you. And maybe if you talk to those guys and if you ask about Gino from Tops, maybe they'll remember me too. But there was a lot of cool
I'm sure they
memories
will.
that were there. But no, I would say that, yeah, you should. You really should. No, I would say that it's definitely a standalone. You know, we want to make sure that the NFT itself holds its own weight. And so what we wanted to do is we wanted to make sure that whoever what the collector was, especially knowing that it might have a heavy price tag, is that they could watch that and feel like they actually got substantial. You know, the little video montage, putting the memorabilia on the wall, so to speak, in this kind of Hall of Fame, the audio we used, and at the end of the day, make sure that the art itself was showcased and it felt like a coveted collectible. And so that's what we were really trying to achieve there. You know, did the fact that the 1952 Mantle on its own in the physical sense is a coveted piece and a collectible everybody wants? Yeah. Did it boost the visibility of that? I'm sure as well. But we wanted to make sure that the NFT, again, you know, had its own personality and its own kind of want, so to speak, there.
A few months ago, you know, there was a 9.5 graded Mickey Mantle card that sold for a little over $12 million. Do you feel that the value of this NFT has gone up because of a sale like that?
You know, I think the fact that the market's in a bit of a flux, maybe it didn't go up as much as we thought it would when something like that does happen. But to your point, you know, we spoke with a couple collectors who collected the I guess the last big ticket sale, you know, the 5.2 million one. And we kind of got a sense, okay, what does it take for people to understand that there's value there? And so it just shows that, you know, the physical market is just really strong. And, you know, we're excited. And I think that was also part of the NFT is, you know, we want to see the journey in which it'll go on. You know, who's the next person to buy it, what they'll do with it, what they'll sell it for. I think the person that bought it for 470,000 immediately put it back up on sale. Like, all right, let's see what this thing could do. You know, so
nice.
it's kind of cool to see the journey of that.
Yeah, that's one of the really cool things about blockchain tech is you can follow the ownership and actually it's cool. Like the ownership of something could increase the value of an item based on who owned it, and you're able to prove that, which I think is just such a cool thing that we didn't have before. You know, at least in that same provable sense in the physical world.
To your point, real quick, you know, we see that Darvish, you know, the pitcher in Major League Baseball, is a huge blockchain collector. He loves Topps packs, and so you could actually see that he's collecting certain packs or making certain transaction on the secondary market because he's trying to complete a set. And it was just so cool to see that, you know, he doesn't want the notoriety. He just wants to collect. He's a completionist at heart. And it was just really cool to see like, hey, you know, this guy is really into it, you know? And so that was kind of cool. To your point, you get to see kind of the journey of those NFTs.
I love that. That's super cool. And especially if somebody who's a Yu Darvish fan, if you ever sell them, you know, having the opportunity to own a collectible that's owned by Yu Darvish is a really big deal. Yep. It's a really cool opportunity for collectors to actually be able to prove
full
that.
Set. Like,
yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. It's really fun because a lot of the collectibles that we dive into, we always assess what would this be worth as a one-of-one if you come in as an investor, right? So what would like this comic be worth if there's only one, you know, as an NFT? So actually seeing a grail like this as a one-of-one has been really exciting for us, and we're excited to see how it's going to do over the next 5 to 10 years and onward.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. And that's funny you said that too, because as we were talking with the Mantle brothers, they were fully into this. They want to know the ins and outs. They want to know what we thought about the industry, digital collecting as a whole. They were completely invested in it, which was really cool. It wasn't just a situation of like, oh, okay, you could have our rights. They wanted to know, you know, what this thing was all about and what was the motivation behind creating this. And so that was really cool to see.
One of my favorite collections you guys have released, you know, kind of we talked about before, it was Garbage Pail Kids, especially series 1. That's near and dear to my heart. It's probably one of the first actually like kind of like licensed digital collectibles that I've bought. I guess previous to that, I bought a lot of, I guess, not necessarily licensed, but, you know, more like indie type stuff, gaming things. So it was definitely one of the first actually licensed collectibles that I bought. So that was really exciting. So what plans do you guys have to add utility to some of those older collections that you had, and then even the newer ones going forward?
Yeah, I think the first step with the older collections is that bridge. I think once we get it all on the same kind of platform, that'll allow us to do a lot more with that. What you're seeing in terms of utility is the collection challenges we often host. You know, we do a lot of those with our current collections. You know, the challenge rewards, we did it with Godzilla, we did it with baseball. We now just started, I think, kicking off the one for Bundesliga coming up soon, called Limitless.
Cool.
And we plan on doing a lot more of that, because we want to make sure that, you know, collectors are always asking at the end of the day, what can I do with this? And so we want there to be utility. You know, down the line, it'd be great if there was some sort of fantasy component to it, gamification component to it. But I think the first part of that was make sure the buying experience is good, make sure the collecting experience is good, and then make sure the secondary marketplace works as intended. Because, you know, at the end of the day, a lot of these people want to see a profit on their investment, and that makes sense as well. So, yeah, I think step one, get on the same platform. And then I think you'll see what we have in mind in terms of utility and collection challenges with our next GPK release, which, you know, I can confidently say may come in the next couple months or so.
Nice. Looking forward to that.
Nice.
That leads directly into my next question. What are the next cool drops that are coming up with Topps Digital?
Sure. Yeah, of course. So we recently released Topps Now postseason. That one's just a lot of fun because it's like, hey, the postseason here, these are the amazing moments, go collect them, and you kind of have them forever. And so we thought that was a nice touch. This time around, we even added a couple of cool animations to it where it looks like breaking news or a bottom ticker like ESPN style. We also did ones that look like newspaper headlines just to add to it, because we know they're notable for a reason. They're the points of a postseason that make it memorable for a lot of fans, whether good or bad. You know, as a Braves fan, I can't handle the amount of Philly content I've been looking at, but
go Phillies.
Oh, there we go. I'm slowly getting over it. So
Yeah.
no, but it's been amazing to watch. They are on a mission, and I mean, just think about a Harper's home run in the last series. I mean, talk about you can't script that's above and beyond scripting. That's just like, hey, we need this to happen right now, right here, and with him. So I mean, it's just like, the MLB writers behind the scenes are doing a great job this postseason. That's all I can say.
As the series are coming out, you're like rolling out those NFTs like the week right after the series happens, for example, or
yeah. So we did it in 2 drops. We consolidated the wild card and division series into drop 1, which went live 2 days ago. And then we're coupling the championship series and the World Series together, and that'll go out shortly after the World Series is over. So, you know, top moments, animations, cards will rotate. You get to see the front and back, which is a nice touch. And so I think people really appreciate that. And then beyond that, yeah, we're doing a garbage pail collection that's coming up that I think you're really going to love. It actually kind of pokes fun at the NFT industry, major projects, major memes, trends, including us. You know, we put ourselves in there. That wouldn't be right if we didn't make fun of ourselves as well. Right. So I think people are going to have a lot of blast. You know, you look at the artwork, you find some Easter eggs in there, some winks, some nods. And I think people are going to have a lot of fun with that one.
Nice. I'm excited to check that out.
We talked a good amount about the NFT side of the business. You know, we, at the end of the day, also do digital collectibles. So it's a question of where those crossovers will be. You know, we have 6 apps currently across sports and entertainment. And so top of mind will be, you know, how do those 2 industries live separate, and how do they live kind of, you know, crossed over and integrated? And so our first dip into that is actually coming up as well, where we're doing a World Series challenge in our Topps Bunt digital collectibles app, where if you place on a certain leaderboard, you can get a Topps MLB NFT pack. So this is kind of step 1 of, okay, you know, in the past we would give in-app prizes, whether that's in-app currency, a special limited edition card, a multiplier card, things of that nature. But now we're kind of seeing, okay, how can we make this thing bigger, and how can this live outside of the app? And so I think that's a huge initiative for us, especially in the coming year. And we actually partnered with, I don't know if you're familiar with them, Out of the Park Baseball. It's like a strategy baseball. Yeah, they're more of a web-based application. Talk about diehard fans. You know, you open up digital packs of cards, you set lineups, you simulate the games. It's full season long, and those fans are just massive baseball fans. And we thought, hey, how can we find a way to collaborate? So we put Topps cards in their platform for the first time ever. And if they collect all those Topps cards, they get a Topps Bunt redemption code where they can unlock content in Topps Bunt. So it's a nice handshake. And then we're doing our part where people that place on the leaderboard I mentioned can get Out of the Park perfect team codes to unlock something in their platform. So it's a nice back and forth. But, you know, to make a long story even longer, it was just a fun way to integrate NFTs into our app, because we want to make sure that, you know, collectors see the value and continue to be passionate about digital collecting, which, you know, we continue to see across all of our apps.
So I actually have one
That's
last
awesome.
question. So I guess, have you seen any resistance or hesitance from kind of like the Web2 tops digital collectors into kind of getting them to move into Web3?
I don't know if I would even say resistance. I think it was just more curiosity. It was like, okay, are you going to continue investing in the apps? And the answer is hell yes. You know, we have so much set for 2023. We're building up our teams. We're very excited for all types of new systems in the apps where you can, I guess, better understand the nuance of digital collecting, especially for early on users that download the app and say, you know, what's next. And so I think what they wanted to see was, okay, are you going to continue believing in both products? And like I said, the answer is very much yes. Some of them, I would say the communities have different wants and needs and maybe different priorities. But at the end of the day, they appreciate the value and the fun and the delight of digital collecting. So I think both communities should be pretty excited for what we have in store.
Well, Gino, it's so amazing to have you on the podcast today. Thanks again for coming on. It's been really, really fun talking to you. And we'll make sure to follow at Tops Digital on both on both Instagram and Twitter. And thanks again for stopping by, everybody. And we'll see you on the next one.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys.
See ya.
Take care.